Shots in the Dark contains graphic depictions of events that may not be suitable for all listeners. We encourage all of our listeners to be open-minded and engage in dialogue with us through any of our social media accounts or email.
Werewolf. There, wolf. This is not time for laughter. Fuck. Super sober special, and it's nighttime. That's a weird thing.
I know. Well, we both have work tomorrow.
Hi, and welcome to Shots in the Dark.
I'm Ty.
I'm Whitney, and this feels awkward.
I think that because we switched it up, now everything's fucked up for the whole show.
Right. I burned a bunch of notes yesterday that I apparently just kept throwing in the fire.
Well, see, they're multi-purpose.
Yeah, I was kindling yesterday. I was like, oh sweet, there's some notes in here. I can start these
Precisely.
3 logs on fire.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a fun time, and I do have a disclaimer for it.
Okay, cool. So we'll end on a light note. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, you mentioned that your story was a little bit horrific, as happens a lot of times with murder.
Right.
So what are you going to tell me about this week?
I'm going to tell you about something horrific. Ooh, he's very good at it.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Very prolific, but I do have a disclaimer.
I was going to say, I know you told me there was going to be a trigger warning.
Yeah, so here's the thing for all of you people that are listening. I have quotes in here that will refer to things in a way that is not super PC and may make people feel not super great. Specifically quotes that refer to mental states. So if there are particular words that trigger for you, it'll only come up one little hint of it, but still... Heads up, it's coming up. Also, there is a lot of horrible murder that I'm gonna, let's say pillow. I'm gonna just cushion the sides of it and make a little softer. I skipped over some of it on purpose, the mass detail, but once again, there are quotes that get really in depth with the manner of which he would dispatch his victims. Additionally, there is sexual abuse and also children's sexual abuse.
Okay.
So it's woo.
We're hitting everything.
Yeah. Because I didn't take German and I'm actually kind of sure that my mouth doesn't really move appropriately to speak German. In the middle of the notes, I was like, you know what, if I just write all of this out and I give it to Ty and he does it 15 months from now, he'll do it and then I'll have forgotten that I wrote it.
You will be fine.
Well, this is why I need you, because you're going to pronounce some things for me.
Okay.
Friedrich Heinrich Karl Haarmann, sometimes referred to as Fritz, was born in Hanover, Germany on October 25th, 1879.
Oh, Fritzy.
Oh, Fritzy. He was the sixth and youngest child born to Johanna and Ollie Haarmann, a couple that seemed to be remarkably mismatched. His father, sometimes referred to as Old Haarmann, was a locomotive stoker known for his dour demeanor and ill nature. He is terrible.
Okay.
He was often found in the seedy bars in Old Town. His wife, Johanna Claudius, was 7 years older and was seemingly dim-witted. I read something where it was she was slightly stupid. That's rude. Stop it.
That is so rude.
Yeah.
That was a quote from somebody, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Slightly stupid, but pretty.
So, okay. All right.
A lot of people think that the dowry that she and her family had provided and the several houses and small fortune may have made her a prime target for Ollie, who was also known to be a drunken man and a womanizer, eventually developing syphilis later in his life, 'cause good. That's what you get, jerkface.
But then did he bring that home to her?
No, I think it may have been after her death.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah, good.
Well, yeah, good. She was known to ignore his proclivities in favor of her youngest son, who she had when she was 41, Friedrich.
Fritzy?
After his birth, she had remained mostly in bed due to a sickness for the remainder of the 12 years of her life.
Oh.
She developed a penchant for needlepoint cooking and then would pass those traits down to Fritz, along with encouraging him to play with his sister's dolls and more historically gendered feminine toys, as well as dress in his sister's clothes.
Okay. And I'm probably feeling like maybe his douche canoe dad was extra not okay with that.
He was extra not okay with anything that Fritz did. He spent most of his childhood as a reportedly quiet child who was considered effeminate and would almost never associate with others outside of his family, especially those who were of his same considered gender. Despite reported traits, he would tie up his sisters, tap on the windows at night, waiting until it's completely dark, and then scare them by tapping on the windows. And it said it awoke a fear of vampires and werewolves with his older siblings and encouraged a lot of fear within them. But here's the thing. I did that to my sister.
And just antagonizing your siblings.
Yeah, I did that to my sister constantly. I used to hide snakes under her pillow, like not real ones, because she would have died, literally died. But Courtney, remember I told you one of my childhood friends, he would climb up the tree next to my window and tap, or he'd like pretend to be swept under his bed, and then Jason would come out and chase me. It was horrifying. Like, I still have nightmares about this. This is a for real thing. And it was from a long time ago.
But yeah, not super out of the usual for siblings to antagonize each other.
No, and they're like, he had a, desire for fear. And I was like, man, that's sibling stuff.
Okay, it's like, let's not get all lifetimey about it. Cool.
Calm it down.
Yeah, okay.
His school years were straining. Despite exemplary behavior in his school, his academics were below average. So he acted really well and was very obedient to his teacher, but he just couldn't grasp the academic side. It would force him to repeat school years on 2 separate occasions.
Oh, man, that sucks.
Yeah. When he was 8, one of his teachers had molested him, but in future interviews, he would refuse to give more details surrounding this incident.
Awful. It's awful.
Also, what are you doing? If you are a teacher, stop it. My parents are both teachers. They didn't do that. So he was a physically strong youth, and at 15, he enrolled in a training school for non-commissioned officers at, this is where it's going to go terrible.
Okay.
By the way, I'm not even going to lie. I almost pulled up these videos to just put them into the microphone because I didn't want to pronounce them so badly. So, Nui Bresa. Am I crazy?
No, it's Noi.
Okay, that's what I thought.
It means new. Brysa?
In April 1895, after failing a locksmith apprenticeship. Apparently he had gone to work under a locksmith and then had decided it wasn't really for him, so he just up and joined the military. Fine. He became a, quote, good gymnast and obedient soldier, which...
I don't see how the two of those things... I mean, do what you want, but...
It's weird, too, because...
It's a weird combination.
Yeah, and I wasn't aware that was part of this... I don't understand how that would be a military thing. I get why it would be useful, because massive amounts of strength and dexterity and agility and wonderful things that come with gymnastics, but still a little confusing on how that occurred.
Well, in Germany, we like to put on a good show.
Oh my God. Until around 5 months later, when a medical professional diagnosed him with signs of, quote, anxiety neurosis in October 1895. So he's only been in there since April until October.
So this is 1895. Psychiatric.
Really good back then.
Treatment.
So good.
I mean, it's renowned historically how ahead of the times they were.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When people would just look at you and be like, you have hysteria. He began suffering periodic lapses in consciousness and epileptic fits stemming from a concussion obtained while he was doing bar exercises, or possibly from sunstroke that he suffered while he was doing those exercises. So he was outside literally doing the bar. And then, apparently, conked himself a little bit.
Oh, okay. So, head trauma?
There we go. That's number 1. He dismissed himself from the sickbay in the military, saying that, quote, he didn't like it there anymore, and soon began working for his father in a cigar factory his father had established around 7 years prior. Fritz disliked his father and continued to loathe him the entirety of his life, which some have inferred was on a level like an Oedipal complex.
Oh.
They thought that because he and his mother were so close-knit that maybe he and his dad had problems because he was suffering from a hint of an Oedipal complex. Which, for people that don't know what that is, first of all, I thought it was like mandatory reading in high school English.
Oedipus Rex?
Yeah. But it is a story about a young gent who ends up sleeping with his mother and killing his father. It's not intentionally, like, he wasn't like, ooh, I like my mom. He didn't know. But still, now it's a name. And I can't remember the one for women with their fathers. They argued and often threatened each other with a number of penalties. His father would often say that he was going to throw Fritz into an asylum, or Fritz, I guess, decided that he was going to have his father prosecuted for a local murder of a train driver. First of all, it wasn't also 100% considered a murder. They weren't sure. But he was like, cool, I'm going to go down phone to the police, I'm gonna get you thrown in jail.
Oh my gosh.
Real, like, what?
I'm
gonna frame you for a murder.
This is like a reality show. Oh my God.
It's a lot.
It's like the Kardashians of 1895.
Well, it's gonna get kind of true bloody with some of these things. Despite a mutual dislike for one another, they would sometimes work together to swindle people or to exonerate one another in court proceedings. In July 1896, when Haarmann was 16, he committed the first of his pretty well-known sexual offenses, although the young victim of molestation was completely unnamed. They're not sure exactly how old that kid was, but they know he was quite young.
Fritzy was how old when he did this?
16.
Okay, all right.
So he went to the academy, came home, he starts doing shady dealings, and then now he's like, no time like the present.
Asshole.
It's no good. After being caught for similar crimes, the Division of Criminal Matters, because the first one that he got caught for didn't apparently tell them that maybe they need to just put him in jail forever. So he continued. At this time, I want to say I'd read it was somewhere like 10 or 15, but they're not sure at all. And that's been only, I think, reported on like 3 of the sources I was looking at. So I can't say for sure if that's a real truth.
Well, I mean, if that is the truth, that's terrible.
Yeah.
It's so terrible that he got away with all of those.
Yeah. After being caught for the similar crimes we were just talking about, the Division of Criminal Matters had placed Haarmann in a mental institution in Hildesheim.
Was that Hildesheim?
That's the one. Good
Hildesheim.
call. Do it again.
Hildesheim.
Thank you. Moving forward past bad pronunciation. Not Ty's, mine. In February in 1897, he was transferred briefly to a hospital in Hanover for a psychiatric evaluation where he was deemed to be, quote, incurably deranged and was ordered to an indefinite confinement to a psychiatric hospital.
Okay, I'm not mad at that.
Right, get the help you need.
Because he does need help.
This is the very tail end of the 1800s.
So he was going to undergo some pretty horrible things probably in there? No?
He escaped 7 months later, and he had fled with his mother's assistance to Zurich in Switzerland, where he had lived with his mother's relatives. Let him back on the loose.
Wow, that was really nice of his relatives to just be like, yeah, we would love to take in an escaped patient. That sounds so great.
Supposedly at this time he was also committing crimes out there. He obtained employment as a handyman in a shipyard, although he continued to commit sexual crimes against children. Accusations mounted, and he was soon sent back to psychological care, almost directly following his 18th birthday.
I can't believe that all of this is happening just up until he's so young.
Oh, wait. At this time, in this particular facility, he had suffered some unknown trauma, and then for the rest of his life, he would remain affected by it. There's no information on that anywhere that I read. He later said, quote, hang me, do anything you like to me, but don't take me back to the loony bin.
So, yeah, whatever happened to him, he came out real traumatized.
Right, but he's already a little bit, whoop. He escaped again due to lack of security and fled back to Switzerland. At 20, he returned to Hanover and seemed to have a period of, quote, sexual normality, where he married a woman named Erna Lovert. When he married Erna Lovert, both sets of parents had blessed the union, especially his parents, that had hoped that this meant that he would put his delinquencies to rest. They opened up a fishmonger with funds from his father, although eventually she would terminate their engagement after he accused her of having an affair with a student. She apparently was just like, yeah, fishmongery's in my name. Get out.
Oh.
Get it.
Oh my goodness. Wow, crafty lady.
Well, but he's a butt. He's just a complete butthead.
Oh yeah, I know, but she was real smart.
Yeah.
A, she got out, and then B, she was just like, but I'm gonna take this.
I think maybe his dad didn't want to put it in his name, and also he's a massively, delinquent person. There's a couple times that he has an alias, which I couldn't find. So I don't think he was under alias with her, but I think maybe that they didn't want to attract attention to be like, hey, get back into that asylum.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? He eventually abandoned Erna and their unborn child in favor of military service, where he became an excellent soldier. I read something that said that it was a compulsory service. War's coming up. It's right here. But there's quite a few more that say that he just wanted to go back into the service and it was fine. He was, quote, full of obedience and spirit de corps. During his service in April 1901, his mother died, and in October 1901, he collapsed again while on duty and was diagnosed with a mental deficiency that would deem him unfit for community service. Shortly after, he'd returned to his tumultuous family life where he continued to partake in schemes with his father, and old Haarmann would try to have him committed to no avail, because there's a couple occasions where he assaulted his dad, probably justly, because what I've read about his dad is not great.
Yeah.
But his dad tried to get him arrested, he tried to get him thrown into a psychological ward, but the doctor said that he considered him to be morally inferior and not in need of going to a psychiatric institution.
Okay. They just didn't think there was anything